The obsidian conclave chamber hummed with a low, resonant thrum, a sound that vibrated not just in the ornate, black marble floors but deep within the exoskeletal structures of the krill. 20 krill primarchs, their carapaces gleaming with an almost unnerving stillness, occupied their designated alcoves around the vast, circular space. Each primarch represented a distinct hive cluster, their collective consciousness forming the ruling body of the krill ascendancy, a civilization spanning a spiral arm of the galaxy. The air hung thick with the psychic residue of their unspoken anxieties, their collective unease palpable even to the most shielded minds. For cycles uncounted, the Forbidden Zone had remained inviolate, a silent testament to the ancient pact that had forged the very foundation of their societal order. Now a human vessel, a single brazen point of light, had dared to trespass. The first Primarch, designated as the speaker, initiated the conclave sequence. Her bioluminescent patterns pulsed with a slow, deliberate rhythm. The intrusion is confirmed. A vessel of human origin has breached the perimeter of the Forbidden Zone. Its trajectory is erratic. Scans indicate minimal armament. Its energy signature is inconsistent, fluctuating in a manner that defies conventional physics. Her chitinous head tilted slightly, a gesture of profound uncertainty in krill body language. The Forbidden Zone was not merely a territorial boundary. It was a psychic scar, a place where the veil between realities was thin, a place where the echoes of a forgotten war still resonated with terrifying power. The pact that had created the zone was more than a treaty. It was a psychic binding, etched into the very DNA of the krill, a warning against venturing too close to the abyss. A wave of psychic murmurs rippled through the chamber, each Primarch grappling with the implications of this unprecedented event. Fear, a sensation that the krill ascendancy had meticulously suppressed for generations, flickered at the edges of their consciousness. Had the humans somehow discovered the truth of the zone? Were they probing, testing the limits of the ancient agreement? Or, even more terrifying, were they acting out of ignorance, oblivious to the cosmic dangers they were courting? The arrogance of lesser species was a constant source of irritation, but this was something different. This was a potential cataclysm. Analysis of the vessel's composition is incomplete, the second Primarch, a master of sensor technology, intoned. The hull plating exhibits an unusual alloy, one that does not correspond to any known element or combination thereof. The energy readings suggest a propulsion system based on principles we have only theorized about, a manipulation of subspace that bends the laws of causality. Her words, carefully chosen and devoid of emotional inflection, carried a weight that resonated throughout the chamber. The krill prided themselves on their mastery of physics, their understanding of the universe's fundamental laws. To encounter a technology that defied those laws was not merely unsettling, it was a challenge to their very identity. The 12th Primarch, representing the most isolationist of the hive clusters, spoke with a rare urgency. Destroy it, immediately. This violation cannot be tolerated. The consequences of allowing it to remain are too dire to contemplate. The zone is sacred. It protects us from what lies beyond. We cannot risk contamination. Her words were harsh, uncompromising, reflecting the deep-seated paranoia that permeated her hive cluster's cultural matrix. The memory of the ancient war, the war that had necessitated the creation of the Forbidden Zone, still lingered in their collective psyche, a constant reminder of the horrors that lurked in the unknown. The speaker hesitated, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with indecision. Such action would be a violation of established protocol. We have engaged the humans in diplomatic contact before, albeit limited. A preemptive strike would be unprecedented. It would invite retaliation. The krill ascendancy, despite their immense power, had always maintained a cautious approach to diplomacy. Their strategic advantage lay in their technological superiority and their intricate web of alliances with other species. Open aggression, particularly against a species as unpredictable as the humans, could destabilize the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Retaliation is a secondary concern, the 12th Primarch countered, her voice rising in pitch. The integrity of the zone is paramount. What if the humans possess technology capable of breaching the psychic barrier? What if they are unwitting agents of something else? We cannot afford to take that risk. Our survival depends on it. The other Primarchs stirred, their exoskeletons clicking softly as they shifted in their alcoves. The 12th Primarch's argument, though extreme, resonated with their deepest fears. The Forbidden Zone was not merely a territorial boundary. It was a dam holding back a flood of unimaginable horrors. The 6th Primarch, a scholar of ancient history and a master of psychic projection, intervened. We must proceed with caution. Direct engagement could provoke an unintended response. I propose a psychic probe. A subtle intrusion into the human vessel's cognitive matrix. We must ascertain their intentions, their understanding of the zone's significance, before taking any irreversible action. Her suggestion was met with a mixture of relief and apprehension. A psychic probe was a risky undertaking, capable of inflicting unforeseen damage on both the target and the probe itself. But it was also the most logical course of action, a way to gather information without resorting to open warfare. After a tense period of deliberation, the conclave reached a consensus. The sixth Primarch would initiate a psychic probe, carefully calibrated to minimize the risk of detection and unintended consequences. The remaining Primarchs would stand ready to respond to any eventuality, their fleets poised to engage the human vessel at a moment's notice. The fate of the Krill Ascendancy, perhaps even the fate of the galaxy, hung in the balance, dependent on the fragile thread of a psychic connection between two vastly different species. Deep within the human vessel, designated the Starseeker **, Captain Eva Rostova stared out at the swirling vortex of energy that defined the Forbidden Zone. The viewscreen displayed a chaotic tapestry of colors, an ethereal landscape that defied all known laws of physics. She felt a strange pull, a sense of both fascination and dread, as if the zone were a living entity beckoning her closer. The Starseeker was a prototype research vessel, equipped with experimental technology that allowed it to manipulate subspace and traverse distances previously thought impossible. Its mission was simple, at least on paper, to explore the anomalies within the Forbidden Zone and gather data. Eva knew the true purpose of the mission was far more complex. The Earth Alliance, despite its outward appearance of unity and progress, was riddled with internal factions, each vying for power and control. The Starseeker project was a pet project of the enigmatic Directorate of Advanced Research, a shadowy organization rumored to be engaged in experiments that bordered on the unethical. Eva had been hand-picked for the mission, not for her scientific expertise, but for her unwavering loyalty and her ability to keep secrets. She had been told only that the Forbidden Zone held the key to unlocking humanity's true potential, a potential that could reshape the destiny of the galaxy. "Captain," the voice of Lieutenant Commander Jian echoed through the bridge. "We are approaching the designated coordinates. Sensor readings are unstable. The energy fluctuations are interfering with our systems. I recommend we maintain a safe distance." Jian was a brilliant physicist, a man of science and reason, but even he couldn't hide the apprehension in his voice. The Forbidden Zone was a place where the laws of physics seemed to break down, where reality itself became fluid and unpredictable. "Maintain course, Commander," Eva replied, her voice calm and steady. "We are here to explore the unknown. A little turbulence is to be expected." She turned to her science officer, Dr. Eris Thorne, a wiry, intense man with a perpetual look of concentration on his face. "Dr. Thorne, what are your initial impressions? Anything interesting to report?" Eris had been studying the sensor data for hours, his fingers flying across the control panels as he analyzed the complex patterns of energy and radiation. Eris looked up, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Captain, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. The energy signatures are intelligent. They seem to be responding to our presence, shifting and changing in a way that suggests a form of communication. I believe we are on the verge of a major breakthrough, a discovery that could rewrite our understanding of the universe." Eva felt a surge of anticipation, mixed with a healthy dose of skepticism. Eris was prone to hyperbole, but his instincts were usually right. If the Forbidden Zone held the key to unlocking humanity's potential, then they were about to find it. Suddenly, a wave of nausea washed over Eva, followed by a sharp, stabbing pain in her head. She stumbled, clutching at the console for support. "Captain, are you all right?" Jian asked, his voice filled with concern. I don't know," Eva gasped, struggling to maintain her composure. "I feel something, a presence. It's in my head." The pain intensified, becoming almost unbearable. Images flashed through her mind, fragmented visions of alien landscapes, grotesque creatures, and a war that seemed to span millennia. The sixth Primarch's psychic probe had made contact. The initial assessment was one of profound shock. The human mind was a chaotic landscape, a swirling vortex of emotions, memories, and irrational beliefs. It was a stark contrast to the ordered, disciplined consciousness of the Krill. The sixth Primarch struggled to navigate the labyrinthine pathways of Eva's mind, searching for a coherent pattern, a clue to the human's intentions. What she found was a jumble of conflicting emotions: ambition, fear, curiosity, and a deep-seated longing for something more. She also found something else, something unexpected and disturbing. A hidden layer of memories, suppressed and fragmented, but undeniably present. Memories of a conspiracy, a hidden agenda within the Earth Alliance, a plan to exploit the Forbidden Zone for its own purposes. The Directorate of Advanced Research was not seeking to unlock humanity's potential. It was seeking to weaponize the zone's power, to create a weapon that could dominate the galaxy. The sixth Primarch recoiled in horror. The humans were not merely ignorant of the zone's significance, they were deliberately seeking to corrupt it. The psychic probe severed its connection, retreating back into the safety of the Krill consciousness. The sixth Primarch emerged from her meditative trance, her exoskeleton trembling with a mixture of fear and anger. "They are not what they seem," she announced to the conclave, her voice echoing through the chamber. "The humans are not innocent explorers. They are agents of a hidden agenda, a conspiracy to exploit the power of the Forbidden Zone. They must be stopped." The obsidian conclave chamber erupted in a cacophony of psychic energy. The Primarchs, their fears confirmed, reacted with swift and decisive action. The fleets were mobilized, the defense systems activated, and the psychic barriers strengthened. The Krill Ascendancy was preparing for war, a war not just against the humans, but against the darkness that lurked within the Forbidden Zone. The speaker, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with a renewed sense of purpose, issued the order. "Engage the human vessel. Terminate with extreme prejudice. The integrity of the zone must be preserved at all costs." On board the Starseeker Eva regained consciousness, her head throbbing with pain. "What happened?" she asked, her voice weak and shaky. I don't know," Jian replied, his face pale with concern. "You collapsed. We've been trying to revive you for the past few minutes." But that's not the worst of it. Sensors are detecting multiple contacts, hostile contacts. They're Krill vessels. They're heading straight for us. Eva's eyes widened in disbelief. The Krill were one of the most powerful and enigmatic species in the galaxy, known for their technological prowess and their unwavering commitment to the preservation of their territory. Why were they attacking them? "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Eva ordered, her voice regaining its strength. "Engage the warp drive." "We need to get out of here now," Jian hesitated. "Captain, the warp drive is still in the calibration phase. We're not ready for warp jump. It's too risky." Eva glared at him. "We don't have a choice, Commander. If we stay here, we're dead. Engage the warp drive." Jian, knowing that disobeying a direct order was tantamount to treason, reluctantly complied. The Starseeker shuddered violently as the warp drive activated, tearing a hole in the fabric of spacetime. The vessel plunged into the warp, leaving behind the swirling vortex of the Forbidden Zone and the pursuing Krill fleet. But the Starseeker*S troubles were far from over. The warp drive, still untested and unstable, began to malfunction. The vessel was buffeted by violent surges of energy, its internal systems flickering erratically. Eva gripped her chair, her knuckles white as she struggled to maintain control. "Report!" she shouted above the din. "Warp drive is failing, Captain." Jian reported, his voice strained. "We're losing power, we're being pulled off course." Eva knew that if the warp drive failed completely, they would be stranded in the warp, a desolate and unforgiving dimension where time and space had no meaning. Suddenly, the Starseeker lurched violently, throwing everyone off their feet. The lights flickered and died, plunging the bridge into darkness. Eva felt a surge of panic, but she fought to remain calm. "Emergency power," she shouted. "Restore life support." The emergency generators sputtered to life, bathing the bridge in a dim red light. Jian struggled to his feet, his face covered in sweat. "Warp drive is offline, Captain," he reported. "We're dead in the water." Eva knew that their situation was dire. They were stranded in the warp, without power and without hope of rescue. But she refused to give up. She had come too far, risked too much to simply surrender. "Dr. Thorne," she said, turning to her science officer. "What about the experimental drive? The one the Directorate told us not to use unless absolutely necessary." Eris hesitated. "Captain, that drive is untested. It's based on principles we barely understand. Using it could tear the Starseeker apart." "We don't have a choice, Doctor," Eva replied, her voice firm. "It's our only chance. Activate the experimental drive." Eris, knowing that Eva was right, reluctantly complied. He hurried to the science station, his fingers flying across the control panels. The Starseeker trembled as the experimental drive activated, drawing power from the warp itself. The vessel began to accelerate, moving faster and faster through the swirling currents of the warp. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light filled the bridge. Eva shielded her eyes, momentarily blinded. When she could see again, she gasped in disbelief. The Starseeker had emerged from the warp, but it had not returned to normal space. Instead, it had entered a dimension unlike anything she had ever seen. A dimension of pure energy, of infinite possibilities, a place where the laws of physics no longer applied. The Forbidden Zone had led them to something far more terrifying and far more wondrous than they could have ever imagined. As the asterisk Starseeker drifted in this alien dimension, a signal reached the vessel. It wasn't a signal in the traditional sense, not a radio wave or a laser beam, but a psychic projection, a voice that spoke directly to their minds. "Welcome, travelers," the voice said, its tone both ancient and welcoming. "You have crossed the threshold. You have entered the realm of the architects." The architects were a legendary race, beings of immense power and knowledge who were said to have shaped the very fabric of reality. Their existence was considered a myth by most species in the galaxy, a fairy tale used to scare children. But here, in this alien dimension, the myth had become reality. Eva, despite her fear, felt a surge of hope. Perhaps the architects could help them, guide them back to their own dimension. "We are the crew of the Asterisk Starseeker Asterisk," she replied, her voice projecting directly into the alien dimension. "We are lost. We need your help." The voice of the architects echoed in their minds. "We have been watching you, humans. We have seen your struggles, your triumphs, and your failures. You are a species of great potential, but you are also prone to destruction. You have the power to create, but you also have the power to destroy. We have brought you here to offer you a choice." The architects presented Eva and her crew with a vision, a glimpse into the future. They saw the Earth Alliance, torn apart by internal conflict, consumed by greed and ambition. They saw the Directorate of Advanced Research, wielding the power of the Forbidden Zone to conquer the galaxy. They saw humanity, reduced to a shadow of its former self, enslaved by its own lust for power. Then they saw another vision. A vision of unity, of cooperation, of a galaxy where different species lived in harmony. They saw humanity, embracing its potential for good, becoming a beacon of hope and progress. "The choice is yours," the architects said. "You can continue down the path of destruction, or you can choose the path of unity. The power to shape your destiny lies within your hands." Eva looked at her crew, their faces filled with a mixture of fear and hope. She knew that the choice was not just hers to make. It was a decision that would affect the fate of humanity, the fate of the galaxy. "We choose the path of unity," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We choose to embrace our potential for good. We will do everything in our power to create a better future for all." The architects were pleased. "Very well," they said. "We will guide you, we will show you the way, but know this, the path of unity is not an easy one. It will require sacrifice, compromise, and unwavering commitment. Are you prepared to pay the price?" Eva knew that the architects were right. The path of unity would be fraught with challenges, but she was prepared to face them, to do whatever it took to create a better future. "We are prepared," she said. "We will not falter." The architects opened a gateway, a portal that led back to their own dimension. The Asterisk Starseeker entered the gateway, leaving behind the realm of infinite possibilities. The vessel emerged from the warp, back into normal space, far from the Forbidden Zone and the pursuing Krill fleet. Eva Rostova, captain of the Asterisk Starseeker Asterisk, had returned a changed woman. She had seen the darkness that lurked within her own species, but she had also seen the potential for greatness. She knew that the fight for unity was far from over, but she was ready to lead the charge. Back in the Obsidian Conclave chamber, the Krill Primarchs watched as the Asterisk Starseeker disappeared from their sensors. The speaker, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with a mixture of relief and apprehension, addressed the conclave. "The human vessel has retreated. It has left the Forbidden Zone. But this is not the end. It is only the beginning. We must remain vigilant. We must prepare for the challenges that lie ahead." The Krill Ascendancy had averted a potential catastrophe, but they knew that the threat from humanity and from the darkness within the Forbidden Zone was far from over. However, something changed in the days after the Starseeker's intrusion. The Krill began to experience dreams of the architects, the same shared future the humans had seen. The Primarchs met again in the Obsidian Conclave chamber, this time not in fear, but in awe. The dreams confirmed what the sixth Primarch felt in her probe, that humanity was on a path to destroy itself. The Krill Ascendancy made a bold decision. They would guide the humans, not with war, but with wisdom. They would use their advanced technology to subtly influence humanity, steering them away from the path of destruction and towards the path of unity. Years later, the Earth Alliance and the Krill Ascendancy stood side by side, united in their commitment to peace and progress. The Forbidden Zone, once a place of fear and mystery, had become a symbol of hope, a reminder of the potential for unity that existed within the galaxy. But there was still a secret, a truth that remained hidden from most. The architects were not merely guardians of the galaxy, they were also its creators. They had seeded the universe with life, guiding its evolution, shaping its destiny. And they had chosen humanity and the Krill to be their successors. The journey had just begun.